Hi, my name is Kristen. I'm from Malvern, Pennsylvania. I am 45 years old and a single mother to two children who are 13 and 9. And I wanted to talk a little bit about why I am a Bernie supporter, which you can see by my shirt that I'm wearing. A little bit of background about me. I have a bachelor's degree in business, and after graduating college, I did what my mother's generation said was the best thing, which was to get into the corporate environment for the pay and for the benefits. And I did that and had a job that lasted almost 10 years. And then I became one of the statistics of downsizing. And it was my first real experience with downsizing, and it was shortly after that time that the bank bailouts happened. And all of this I can kind of see in hindsight now that it's the year 2015. But I am literally the statistic that Bernie talks about in almost every speech that he gives. After getting downsized, I thought, okay, I'll put my resume out, and circulated it. And I literally went from job to job, thinking I was getting myself reestablished, only to find out that I was going to be restructured or downsized in that job as well. So looking back, I can see the start of all this when the banks got bailed out and where things went for me. And of course, without money and resources, you refinance your house and you go into more debt, and it's the collapsing middle class. I am in it. However, today, my most recent employer of 2 years ago eliminated my position after I injured my ankle. I fractured it when I was down the shore, and it required surgery with a plate and screws to be put in order for me to be able to walk or do anything. And it's my driving foot, so it impacted a lot. And literally the first thought I had when I was injured was, I have to get back to work because my employer's not going to like this. And it wasn't until I got back to Pennsylvania and saw the orthopedic surgeon that I realized that the injury was quite severe and that the surgery was a big deal. It would be a 12-week recovery, and that was not moving at all. I was in bed for 3 months, only to get up on crutches to go to the bathroom. And then after the recovery, I was looking at months of physical therapy. So it was very coincidental that after my employer heard that the day after my surgery, my surgeon literally got a call from the employer asking when I was going to return. And his jaw dropped to the floor, and he tried to explain the recovery, how serious it was. And within about a week or two, I received a phone call from an HR representative who told me that if I didn't show up to work, now this is despite the disability claims and the doctor saying I needed to be out, they would consider it insubordination, and I would not be able to collect my severance, and I would not be able to file for unemployment. So I was told they were eliminating my position, but at the same time they wanted me to physically come in and show up after surgery with a plate in my foot and I wasn't supposed to move, or they were going to withhold all of the benefits that you should get when you get downsized. So I had to contact an attorney, and the attorney resolved it. I was able to file for unemployment and it was a very small severance package because I wasn't with the company maybe a year and a half or so. And that was money that I really didn't have to spend as a single mother. And that was my latest experience with corporate America. So I'll be getting back in the job force looking next year. And all of these things that Bernie talks about with corporate ties and the higher-ups getting the big salaries are very true. Corporations are very good at saying that if you're injured or you're sick, we have short-term disability, your job will be okay. It's not true. It is not how it works in corporate America. It's what they say, but it isn't what they enact. And honestly, I have only ever voted once in my life. Again, I'm 45, so I've only voted once. And that was during Bush's re-election, and I just could not stomach the thought of him getting re-elected and went out and voted. So this will be the second time in my life that I'm voting, and I'm really thrilled about being a supporter for Bernie. He is unlike anyone I've ever seen. He has spent decades doing what he does for the people, and yet when he speaks, it's very much like talking to a friend. He's very direct. There's no deflecting the way the other candidates are, but his stance on all of the issues ring true for me. When I lost that job, I lost health care for myself and the children. And the COBRA coverage that you get when you become unemployed was something around $1,000 a month, completely unaffordable. At that point, I decided to go with the Obamacare. And it was right when the website went up, so there were a lot of glitches. So I spent literally 2 hours on hold waiting to speak to a representative to sign us all up, which I did. And in the beginning, it was relatively cheap, but it has crept up in price over the few years I've had it. And at one point, I had to drop coverage for myself, if only to maintain coverage for the children. So I had to make that decision. So Bernie's single-payer universal health care rings true for me, and I'm sure I'm one of millions and millions of people in this situation. Additionally, I worry about the kids when they go to college. Will I be able to pay for it? If they take out loans, what kind of debt are they going to have afterwards? And even beyond that, what's our economy going to be like? Because if I have trouble getting a job now, what are they facing? I had student loan debt many years ago, and it wasn't nearly as expensive as it is today for the kids. It took me 7 years to pay it off. And I don't think that's the way that you should start out a career after educating yourself and going to college with debt and a job market that you're going to really struggle in getting that first job. Not to mention that over the years, as I got more educated on Bernie and looked at my own work history, my salary went down. It actually never stayed the same. With each downsizing and looking for another employer, I had to accept less, even though I was doing the same job or maybe with more responsibility. So that statistic is true as well. I really had to become educated in this process. As I said, I'm from Pennsylvania, and we are a closed primary state. So I had to learn when the deadline was and when to register. But it also forced me to really take a look at videos of him speaking and what he stood for, and then understanding things like Citizens United and TPP and what they meant and how people voted on it and how he voted on it. And it just, it really gave me a picture of such a stark contrast between him and Hillary Clinton. And honestly, just a few months ago, I would be one of those uneducated voters who, if I wanted to vote and I went by the media, which as we know is severely blacking out Bernie altogether, I would have believed what was said, which is she's the front runner, she's going to be the nominee, and I would have thought to vote for her. Luckily, I didn't. And I started learning about her corporate ties and things she stood for and things she's flip-flopped on. And I'm grateful for it. What this has led to is not just me becoming more educated and becoming a voter, again, for the second time in my life, but also I'm involved in the grassroots effort. I always thought I was born 10 years too late, and that I should have been a hippie and involved in the movements they were involved in. That's like I have an old soul. It just really rings true for me. So being involved with this on a social media end, but it's still a grassroots effort, it excites me. I've donated twice to Bernie's campaign in small amounts. My daughter, who's 9, she asked if she could donate her birthday money this year to Bernie's campaign, and she did. She also has a t-shirt, and we wear it as often as possible. And additionally, I had a Facebook account, but I started really connecting with Facebook pages of Bernie. And from there, I made a lot of new friends and connections. From that, I was asked by the person that manages the Bernie Sanders social network if I would manage a sister page for him. And I agreed. And it takes up a lot of my time, but I love it. Bernie's all over the news now anyway, and the whole DNC thing, as we know, backfired and went to his advantage because it exposed a lot. But I am connected with more people than ever and helping to keep the energy up by being a part of that Facebook page and really getting out there and getting the word out, breaking news, all of it. From there, I realized that a lot of people were looking for a centralized site or web page or Facebook page of upcoming Bernie events. And I went and launched a page of my own called Bernie Sanders Upcoming Events. And I chronologically list the events as I see them. And there's a lot in my timeline these days. But as I see them, or if I connect with people and they notify me, I put the event on that page so everyone has one place to go, whether it's a rally, town hall meeting, a live stream, or national TV with a Democratic debate. So it's changed a lot for me. I was contacted by 2 people in the Sanders camp asking if I would volunteer my home for their team to stay in if they're in Pennsylvania, and I agreed. I just think it's wonderful. And there is nothing that I disagree with him on. This is what our country needs. As he says, enough is truly enough. I am the living statistic, and I am sure I am one of millions. And I am very proud to be part of this grassroots effort and being involved in the political process in the way that I should be involved for a truly credible, honest, a man full of integrity candidate like Bernie.